should meet in person on committee days. The Medical College of Georgia gets a new grant to study post-COVID syndrome. WJBF's Taylor Leverett explains how you can be involved.
According to the National Institutes of Health, lingering brain fog or taste or smell is a common symptom among 25% of people who've had COVID-19. If you've experienced any of these symptoms, you could help doctors see if there's a link in a new study.
Augusta University is looking for more than 1,000 Georgians for a study on the impact of COVID-19 to the brain and sense of smell. The study will take a closer look at what happens to a person's cognition and sense of smell after having the virus. Researchers say the study has been ongoing since last May, and many of the participants are sharing similar experiences.
So many patients are complaining of smell and taste loss, and I think at least what we know so far and what Dr. McCluskey can probably elucidate is that the virus does seem to infect the supportive cells in the skin and the nose, and that probably secondarily leads to nerve injury, but it doesn't seem to be a direct brain infection as far as we know.
Researchers also say they are seeing this more in patients now since vaccine efforts are underway. In Augusta, Taylor Leverett, WJBF News Channel 6.
Today, Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock joined President Biden and other leaders to sign the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law. Warnock co-sponsored the bill. It was written to protect Asian Americans from racially based violence in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The bill is the first co-led by Warnock to be signed into law. North Augusta is growing, and the school district is looking to keep up with the momentum. News Channel 6's Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Stock explains.
I'm standing near the area of where two new schools could be built here in North Augusta. School leaders are optimistic the two new facilities will help with some of the rising student numbers in certain parts of the district. Growth is happening in North Augusta.
Over the last, couple of decades, the population in Aiken County has been moving toward the western end of the county.
After seeing that trend, school leaders want to make sure they are prepared by building the Highland Springs facility for elementary and middle school students.
Because class size is always something important that we are always taking into consideration and looking at across the school district. So, the construction of two new schools will certainly help in lowering those class size numbers.
The 50-plus acre property sits between Old Sudlow Lake and Belvedere Clearwater Roads. The project still has to be approved by City Council, but once that happens, work here will begin. The total project will cost around $70 million. The middle school project, which will begin first, will be around $51 million. The elementary school, around $20 million.
The Highland Springs was included in the $90 million bond referendum that passed on May 1st, 2018, I believe. And so the majority of the funds needed for the project will come from there, and then those will be supplemented.
Meanwhile, taxes for people who live in the area are not expected to be impacted. And if you would like to take a look, I have the renderings as well as the financial information on WJBF.com. I'm Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Stock, WJBF News Channel 6.
National EMS Week is coming to a close, but staff at Doctors Hospital couldn't end the week without saying thanks to some of our local heroes. News Channel 6's Ashley Jones has more.
Staff at Doctors Hospital held a picnic today to honor EMS workers here in Augusta. Now, this used to be an annual event, but the pandemic slowed things down. But now, they're revamping the tradition.
Thursday's event featured food, games, and a special recognition for 4 EMS workers.
It's rewarding to know that I can actually help somebody, even though they're not able to do it, and somebody's got to do the job.
All 4 EMS workers were voted on by the Emergency Staff Department at Doctors Hospital. Darren Helkowski is the hospital's EMS coordinator. He said sometimes EMS workers can go underappreciated.
For people to really, understand themselves, until you really need EMS, you don't really know what they do. We show up on your worst day, the worst day of your life, and we try to make things better. We try to get you to the hospital and get you where you need to be.
Helkowski says during the pandemic, was just another part of the job.
It's been overly difficult. Of course, we've had some infection control things we've had to learn, but overall, it's just doing the same thing every day that we always do, just with a couple of masks on.
National EMS Week is a full week dedicated to EMS workers and the services they provide. And for some that don't know about their services, Helkowski breaks it down.
So we save lives. That's what we're in the business of, saving lives. So we're going out there, we're getting people that are having heart attacks to the cath lab, people that are suffering strokes, we're getting them to the stroke center. EMS was born out of trauma. Trauma is really our background. So the car accidents and things like that, when people get severely injured, that's where we step in.
Now, Gold Cross is looking for more workers, and if you're interested in applying, just find the story on our website at Wjbf.com. In Augusta, I'm Ashley Jones, WJBF, News Channel 6.
A local family is still looking for answers more than a decade later after a loved one was murdered. The latest in our cold case series right after the break.
7-6 Central on News Nation.
Welcome back, everyone. A local family wants justice after an Edgefield County man's murder during a home invasion. The crime from more than a decade ago is this month's cold case project. News Channel 6's Renessa Dubose reports.
Nearly 11 years ago, the lives of a mother, brother, and 2 young girls changed when someone broke into the home of Larry Donnell Sanders Jr. and left him dead.
We call Larry LJ.
Mother Carolyn Bates and LJ's brother, DeJuan Sanders, sat down with the Cold Case Project, still hopeful that one day the right information will surface to solve the murder and bring them closure.
He did want to be an underwater welder.
Bates says her son enrolled in Aiken Technical College to become that welder. Not long before Sanders was killed, his brother says a shocking, similar incident happened when LJ lived in Charlotte North Court Apartments in North Augusta.
Somebody tried to break in the apartment.
July 10th, Lord have mercy.
It was a day that started out like any other day for Bates, who says she went to work that Saturday and enjoyed an evening out. And then the clock hit midnight.
I heard, he was dead.
This incident report from Edgefield County Sheriff's Office details some of what happened on the day Sanders was killed at his home on the 100 block of Eagle Road near Fox Creek High School. The responding officer searched outside the mobile home for a suspect. Then he went inside and found LJ shot to death on the floor of his bedroom. Also in the room, LJ's 19-year-old girlfriend at the time, Callie Whitaker. The report states she was covered in his blood after attempting to give him CPR. Edgefield County Sheriff Jody Rowland says SLED joined local investigators to look into how someone broke in Sanders' back door that day and killed him.
The investigation in this case turned a lot of witnesses who related to us the workings of drug deals that were in and out of the Sanders home.
LJ's ex-fiancée, Monique Moore, shared with us off camera that her friend and child's father left his negative past after high school, one that included being in a gang and even getting shot in December of 2000, a case that turned into a double murder of Richmond County teenagers. While he ran with a rowdy crowd from time to time, she says he also loved music, just like his now 15-year-old daughter does. His daughter, Monet, was just 4 years old when she took her last trip to the zoo with her dad and her sister, LJ's other daughter, who was also 4 at the time.
I would like to think that if Elle was still here on this beautiful day, he would be somewhere with his daughters.
Anyone with any information about Larry Sanders Jr.'s case should call the Edgefield County Sheriff's Office at 803-637-5337. Next time on the Cold Case Project, we take you to McDuffie County, where a community of loved ones and friends took to the streets to demand justice for Jonathan Gurley, who was shot and killed outside of his home in Thompson in 2014. What the family and law enforcement need to get closure and close the case.
Still to come, the latest on the effort